Hey friends, you're watching BrainStormAcres. I'm Henry.
And I'm Irene.
Today we're going to tell you about what happened last week and why we had to leave the house.
Just part of the normal schedule. We had to go someplace.
I had a doctor's appointment on Friday.
Right.
It was set up specifically for timing. I had to have a few injections in one hand.
Mm-hmm.
It was exactly when it needed to be.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately,
the weather decided
changed.
to do something wonky.
It changed a lot.
Well, there were a series of storms coming through. First, obviously when we made the appointment a month ago, because that's how long it takes to get an appointment, there was nothing scheduled. I mean, you can't even make a guess a month out. They do make guesses, but it's usually totally bogus. And we figured we'd just make it work. But then all of a sudden this week, it changed.
Yeah, we stayed here on the homestead from the last storm, actually the first storm that we had come in, until last Thursday. And Thursday, I went into town for two reasons. One was I had to find out how the road was because I needed to know if we needed to leave then, because I needed to be at that appointment on Friday morning. And the other reason was Irene had a series of orders that needed to go out.
I had some stuff
customer.
that was going out. We had some stuff that was coming in at two different locations in town. One is the post office, one's another drop point. So it was like, okay, we need to go in at least once or twice a week just because there's no mail delivery where we live. You have to go into town. And that's fine. But all of a sudden, the storms stuff is changing, and they're talking about, instead of it just being a little nothing much, and we had gotten 24 inches before, and it still wasn't completely melted off.
Now, Thursday during the day, it warmed up, and it warmed up an awful lot, so we had a fair amount of melt-off happen. We lost about 40% of the volume of snow, that's the depth of the snow, on the driveway.
Right.
So I decided, well, I have to go in anyway, so we'll go ahead and go in. I would go in by myself. And that left Irene here with another SUV that she could come get me if things really went wrong.
Right. I know where the tow strap is, and I can drive in four-wheel drive. Yes.
So I went into town, and it was not terrible, but it was about 48 degrees in the afternoon, which meant that all that snow was melting, and the water was running down the main road coming into our subdivision. It was running down really, really heavily. When I was driving into town, I was having mud splatter all over the place. So if you notice in the last video, I didn't have a whole lot of footage going into town. And that was because I couldn't have anything outside the car. I needed two hands on the wheel. And I still bottomed out one time, leaving the property. I did the business in town that I needed to do and turned around and came back. It was worse. There was more water, a lot more water, running in the road. There were more potholes in the road.
Right. Now, we've seen this a million times before, and by no means is this the worst it gets. Not even sorta.
So I got back home, and Irene and I discussed it, and we checked what the weather forecast was for Friday and Saturday. And all of a sudden, instead of having cold temperatures at night, which freezes that road and we could drive out first thing in the morning,
right,
it suddenly said, you're going to have temperatures well above freezing.
Right. And we're sitting there going, well, that's not good, because you can always get out in the morning. Now, you may have a heck of a time getting back in, but you can always get out if you're willing to do it early while the road's still frozen.
And we've been doing that for years and years. In fact, we tell the delivery people who do come out here, the propane guy and the water guy, come out to our place early. 6 o'clock in the morning is fine with us, but come out while the road is frozen and you can get here just fine.
Yep.
Friday morning, we get up early and got our stuff together.
Yeah, we actually packed an overnight bag for everybody. Medications, toothbrushes, the whole 9 yards, because we figured, well, if we can't get back in.
Yeah, well, so Irene was thinking they would be able to get back in, and I was thinking, we're not going to be able to get back here until after 5 o'clock because I had an appointment and it was going to take at least an hour longer than the appointment was scheduled
Yeah,
for.
because they're always running late.
So we wouldn't be getting back to the place until 5 or 6 o'clock, best case, at night.
Right.
Which meant that we would have another 3 or 4 hours of melt going on.
Plus, there was another storm coming in, and it was questionable as to whether it was going to be rain or snow in our area. Either way, the snow was going to melt because in parts of the area because the road was too wet and too warm. And if it was rain, so we were concerned that we really weren't going to be able to get in.
Well, we got out Friday morning. It was interesting.
Messy.
We had one very large pothole that you couldn't see because it was in
Underwater.
the muddy water. And we bottomed the vehicle out on the frame in that hole.
That's okay. It's an SUV for a reason.
We came back. We came back in.
Well,
and
the better part of the story is we rush up there, right?
oh yeah, right.
We rush up there, and we've got a very short list of stuff. The plan is basically I'll walk the dog while Henry gets checked into the medical center, and then I'll text him and say everything's set, and he'll give me some eyeball as to what the thing is, and then while he's in there, I'll make a dash to the grocery store, which is just a couple of blocks away, pick up anything small we need because we're already there. We might as well do it. And then when he comes out, we'll hit the hardware store real quick because we need to get some more pellets for this pellet stove, and then we're home.
Yeah, no.
Well, I just barely, it was snowing, and the wind was really howling, and the dog wanted to go for a walk. So once we got there, I took Jack out, and we were tootling around the parking lot, making yellow stains on various things around the parking lot, and he was having a good old time. And then the snowflakes got to the point where they were the quarter size, and the wind was really whipping it. And even with a winter coat on, I'm like, honey, let's go back to the car. So we went back to the car, and I had just gotten him in, got myself in, and I was getting my phone out to text Henry and say, oh, how's it look? Are you checked in now and everything?
Tap, tap, tap.
He knocks on the window, and I'm like, that's not good. Seems that the doctor wasn't there because the doctor's the only one who could do these injections.
So they canceled my appointment while we're on
the road,
drive coming up to the medical
Now, we've
location.
told them before that it's more than an hour to get there. More than an hour. So please, if they knew he wasn't going to be there at 8 o'clock in the morning, just text us or call us or whatever the heck you need to do at that point.
So now that appointment was canceled by the medical provider, and I needed to get a new one set up. And unfortunately, the next appointment that was available is
March.
a month later.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden, the scheduled plan of treatment for my hand is out the window.
So the only thing that was good about this is that we zoomed over to the grocery store. I quickly grabbed some groceries. We zoomed to the hardware store. We grabbed the pellets, and then we headed home.
The long story short now is we got back into our place after checking the post office one last time and picking up one package, actually 2 packages we didn't know we had. Went back to our place and bottomed out multiple times coming in. And those potholes are the consequence of the mud that's underneath the road, the clay, thawing out in some spots. And you can never tell how deep they're going to be. They were deep.
Yeah.
There's no way to avoid them.
No, and unfortunately the vehicle that we have that's 2 or 3 inches taller is in the shop right now. So this is still a good SUV, but it just doesn't have as much clearance. And the other one, you can actually adjust the clearance up if you have to.
Well, I hope this explained why we were missing in action.
Yeah.
On Friday afternoon and Saturday, and now we're back and getting things done.
Right. Yeah, by the time we got back on Friday afternoon, we were just beat.
I was beat the next day.
Well, we did something we never do, which is we took a day off. We actually just sit there and we found a series of programs that we liked and we just binge watched. And we never do that.
And unfortunately, my phone wasn't working right. Cell service has been all over the place, but that's another story. Well, listen, thanks very much for watching. I hope this is of interest to you and hope it at least explains
why
where we
disappeared
went.
magically.
And we did.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe. And hit the bell for notifications, because we're going to continue to be doing crazy stuff, including going for yet another doctor's appointment on Tuesday.
Yeah, yeah. In the other direction, though. And there's not supposed to be any storms between now and then.
But it'll be frozen.
That'll be okay.
Thanks for watching. We'll talk with you later.
Bye.
Bye.